Hey guys, Zuna here. Opening with a video guide on Dragon Shire. I'm going to talk about the strengths and weakness on certain heroes and the comps and how to snowball well on the map and pretty much just teach you how to play it the best way I can. Alright. First I'm going to talk about what heroes are the strongest, and the reason why they're strong. First let's start with warriors. Going with warriors, the two best warriors on this map by far is Johanna and Leoric. Main reason why their wave clear is ridiculous. Wave clear on this map is a huge deal because besides the island on top, being able to clear mid and bot is just a huge deal because you can not only does it put pressure on the lanes, it makes it so you can rotate faster. And the map is really short, so being able to rotate to fight for a shrine or to get a Dragon Knight is a huge deal. So the biggest thing on this map, most important, is wave clear. So then you have Johanna and Leoric. And then the next thing that's most important, especially with how it is a double tank meta currently, is having strong lane presence, like being able to 1v1 people on islands. So then besides Johanna and Leoric having strong lanes, it would pretty much be Tyrael, Anub'arak, and somewhat Arthas. Muradin is by far the best roaming tank, him and ETC, but Muradin just as a stronger hero than ETC is stronger. So with Muradin, you have to get kills. You can't really lane too well, and you have to give up your wave clear because Muradin's wave clear is pretty weak. So talking about warriors, these are the heroes who I think are really strong on the map because they have wave clear, good team fight, and just strong overall. Johanna and Leoric being top tier on the map. Going into assassins now, we'll talk about melee range. For melee, Zeratul is really strong, has strong laning, really good rotation, and good roaming, and good brawling. Illidan, pretty decent. The problem with Illidan on this map, though, is because they are short lanes and the forts are really close, it's really hard for, like, if you're not winning, for Illidan to do work. And the main thing about Illidan is he is a good pick as long as you can win lanes. As long as on the island you know it's a winning lane. I think that's the biggest crucial thing that lots of teams make a mistake on. They pick Illidan, it looks good in their comp, but then like their Illidan's getting crushed in lane and they're just like, well, we need a team fight. And then because they're losing lanes, they get snowballed and they can't kill a fort. And every single time they fight, they just run away to the fort, and it's a huge deal. So Illidan's like, he's not bad, but you have to win that situation. Butcher is pretty decent on it because of rotation, and his wave clear is like not the worst, not the best, but he does have really good gank potential. So if you play a roaming style, you have to get kills with Butcher to pay off. Kerrigan is besides Zeratul is probably the second best because not only does she have decent wave clear with her combo, she has really good gank potential. So, and she's a strong brawler. So I would say Zeratul, Kerrigan for melee assassins are top tier. Now going to range assassins or special, or I'll talk about specials later. But for range assassins, KT by far the best. Like, not only is he like he's decent at level 1, 4 he gets a buff, 7 kind of nerf, 10 Pyroblast or Phoenix is really strong. But at 13, once you have Chain Bomb, there's no better wave clear in the game. And then second best is either Vala or Jaina. Jaina because she has slows, good AoE. Vala because she just has overall damage and decent wave clear, and she's really good at brawling too. So these three, KT being by far the best, and then Jaina, Vala right under for range. Alright, going on to supports. For supports, I'm not really going to include Tassadar and Tyrande. They're not bad in the map at all, but it's more... They're more of like, you don't pick them for the map. Maybe Tassadar is pretty good on Dragon Shire just because like wave clear has a good sight for rotations and stuff. But overall, I think Tassadar in the current meta isn't as strong as he used to be. So, and for Tyrande, she's more of just like, you're not picking her because of the map. You're picking her because of your team comp. And then for just healers, I feel like Brightwing and Lily will actually never be played now because Monk is that much better than both of them. But I do feel like Monk is lower than Rhaegar, Uther, and Malfurion. So I don't think we'll see too much of Brightwing and Lily anymore. Even though Global is really good on the map, Brightwing just feels too weak and has too little healing. Now going into the map, I'd say for healers, it's not too big of a deal. Like, no healer is really going to change anything. I'd say, if anything, you just need to pick healer based on your comp. So it's not a big deal for supports. Now going to specialists. Now this is the thing about specialists on this map, because almost every single specialist on this map is really strong. Like, I'd say the top tier ones you have is Zagara and Sylvanas because their wave clear is really strong. and they have really good laning phases. So those two would be the top tier for sure, being the strongest on the map. And then afterwards, you just have Asmo if you're getting stacks for your team comp. Nazeebo just in general, strong laner, can push, and decent at wave clear. And then Hammer is like, she's not bad by all means, but she's like scales well, so she's decent. So it would be these two. Then it would be Abathur, Asmo, and Nazeebo, like all in their own tier. Abathur just really annoying with mines, can always soak, can take a camp when you or not a camp, take a shrine when you're fighting 5 vs 4, try and sneak dragons, everything. Just really annoying, and he's really good against roamers. So if you know you're versing like a roaming team comp, he can mine up, and then you can play aggressive once you see them roam somewhere else, and make sure no one dies, and then just get the XP lead and outscale them. So Abathur being really strong. Asmodin, if you have Leoric or Johanna to get stacks, and Nazeebo just overall strong. And then I would say Sylvana, Zagara, definitely the top tiers. And that's me explaining pretty much what heroes are the strongest. And the main reason why I'm putting them as the strongest is because in this map, wave clear is important, team fight's important, and laning phase are all super, super important. Now let's go on the map and I'll start talking about the early game and how people play the map. I'll log in as Monk because Monk's sick. Alright, let's go to custom games. Dragon Shire, load it up really quick.
Yitar, guide my path.
Alright, the main thing I'm going to start talking about is how the certain strats people play, why they play, and the current meta, and then I'm going to talk about how to play the early, mid, and late game Dragon Knights.
Where is my foe?
Alright, first thing is, the first strat ever is that majority of people, right when the minions spawn and mid, everyone usually goes mid. You have 4 or 5 people mid, usually 5, and then the thing about this map is that top and bottom get to the lane way later than mid, and because of this, you can clear mid. So everyone usually 5-man's mid unless you just have 0 wave clear or you have a really strong tri-lane and you want to push really hard. Everyone goes mid, they clear the wave instantly, and then at that decision, once you clear the wave instantly, like 5 vs 5, everyone breaks off. And there's 3 different ways to play it. You have the standard 4-man roam team where like one person goes top, and top's usually an island. The 2 main reasons why top is the solo lane instead of the tri lane or the lane people go to. One, when you tri lane, there's 2 bushes, so like you never see it coming. Like it's so easy to get ganked and it's hard to sight them compared to mid. It's like so open, as you can see. So like it's a lot easier not to get ganked. And another thing too is that majority of the camps, the 2 ogres and the knights, are on the bottom side. So if you are on the top side with a tri-lane and they're on the bottom side with a tri-lane and they do get camps, they will outpush you because camps are ridiculous in pushing. That's pretty much the 2 biggest reasons why you see the tri-lanes on the bottom. And going back to it, is the 4-man push strat is literally 4 people push early game. They push the mid, then everyone instant clears the wave, and because the wave takes so long to get to the bottom lane, everyone rotates to the bottom lane. Then they start pushing bottom lane, and then after bottom's pushed out, they start going mid. They start pushing out mid. And now, the strength and the weakness of this, of the 4-man, is that it's really good because when you're pushing them, the waves, you will burn tower bullets really quick. And if you are burning talent bullets, you'll just go to the point where like, if the enemy team doesn't have good enough wave clear, they just can't clear it. And so like you have mobs, and then you'll have all the time in the world to pick up a free camp or like 3-man gang top, like all this stuff, and it puts a lot of pressure. But going back to it, one of the biggest weaknesses that 4-man pushing has is that your top lane pretty much has to be winning if you want to have a 4 lane constantly. The main reason why your top lane has to be winning, it has to hold the shrine pretty much the whole time if you're 4-man rotating, is because once the shrine is up, if you ever just 4-man rotate mid bottom, they will always retake bottom for free no matter what you do if you're 4-man rotating. So like you'll instantly be, instead of being the 4-man rotate team, you'll go down to a 3-man rotate team, and then you'll have one bottom constantly trying to hold the shrine or getting XP, and then you can start lagging behind. But if you have someone on top that's always holding the shrine no matter what, because you have a stronger laner like Zagara, for example, Sylvanas, all really strong laners like that, Vala, Illidan, Zeratul, Johanna, Leoric, a Nubrak, the strong laners I was talking about, if you can have them winning the lane top and you can not worry about the bottom, then at that point you will literally go 4-man mid, 4-man bot, 4-man mid, 4-man bot, and you will snowball super hard because it will get to the point where all the mobs are out here and they have to make a decision. Okay, they either one need to fight against you, and you can just be like, okay, we push, we know they're trying to fight us, don't do anything, just go the long way, wait, re-clear, or you'll be like, hey, we're a man up, let's take the shrine, and then top's like, oh yeah, I'm winning top, so you guys can get mid, and then you just get one pick, and then you get a Dragon Knight, and then once you get a Dragon Knight, you start snowballing. That's pretty much the strength and weakness of the 4-man roam and like how to counter and stuff like that. And then the second one you have is just the pretty much standard 1-1-1. It's 2 roamers and then you just have 1 in each lane. And what the 2 roamers try and do is against the 4-man is like they pretty much just make it so that if your top lane is strong against another strong lane, they just keep killing top lane, so that way like someone constantly has to go top and they can't keep as the 4-man strength. They have to split up, like, because if one's dead they'll have to go 1-2-1 or 1-1-2, and it's just like you just got to keep constantly breaking the rhythm and then getting the XP lead to the point where like once you actually do get kills, they'll be dead long enough so that you can actually get Dragon Knights and stuff like that, or get free camps after a kill. I think early game the Dragon Knight is nice, but like unless you're winning 3 lanes, which shouldn't be happening in like high level games, then most of the time, especially early game, it's like you get a kill, you either reset full or you get a camp and then reset and then like look to push and stuff like that. And getting camps can get pressure for Dragon Knights because certain people will have to rotate, so that's another way to do it, with the 1-1-1 with 2 roamers. And then the second way to do it is the standard tri lane where you'll have 3 people go bottom. And now this bottom lane, what they'll do is is they will just constantly push bottom. And the main thing about this is like it's exactly like the 4-lane strat, is you need a really strong top laner that can hold the shrine, because you want it to the point where like top is a winning lane. He's like, hey, I'm a winning lane, I'm going to play super aggressive. So he's playing aggressive on his way and he's winning, he's pushing towers and he has the shrine constantly. On bottom, you're like, if top ever gets ganked, the biggest strength you have is that you're instantly going to take a wall or a fort. So like it doesn't matter if top ganks, so you just say, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to instantly kill your wall. And now this is where Leoric and Johanna work really well, because if they're mid, their wave clear is by far the strongest out of anything. So like if they're doing 4-man strats, you can just like instant clear the wave. Don't have to worry about tower bullets, or like they're hard to kill too. So like you can like kill the wave with them, rotate, do all that stuff. And then that's exactly what those 2 tanks in general shine, is because they have really good wave clear and they're super hard to kill. So that's the other strat, is the tri lane. You're like, hey, we're going to win tri-lane so hard that they're going to have to deal with our tri-lane, or if they don't deal with it, we're just going to take the bottom fort and keep rotating top, bottom, mid. And the thing about tri-lanes, lots of people don't understand, is when you play the tri-lane, you don't really care about the Dragon Knight. Like, you never want to give them a Dragon Knight, don't get me wrong, but you don't care about getting it. You care about getting buildings. And if you can get it, that's good, that's great. You know, you got a Dragon Knight, but you're never going to be like, hey, we need to do some crazy shit to get a Dragon Knight. You're literally just going to be like, oh, they got top? Boom, we're going to get the bottom wall. It's like in certain situations where you're like for some reason they have 5-man roam top. You're like, oh, there's 5 top. Let's get the Dragon Knight, because they're not on the thing and mid can tap it. That's when you'll get it. But if not, you're just going to be 3 men and you're just going to push as hard as possible. And whenever they like go to rotate and you don't worry about Dragon Knights. Just like make sure you hold yours, or if you're not holding yours, then make sure the other 2 are holding this one. And that's why you need a strong top laner for this strat too. That way, when they do 4-man roam, or like if they do roam against your bottom lane and it's a 4 versus 3 and your top is a weak top laner, then you're kind of fucked, because he holds the shrine top. They just took the shrine bottom, so now it's like, oh, they're gonna go rotate mid, and then you have to like constantly battle the, oh shit, like how many people are rotating type stuff. Like, can we fight back on the shrine? Will it be 4 versus 3? Like, and you fall behind, and then you lose a Dragon Knight eventually. But so lots of this strat comes down to having a really strong top laner that can make sure he wins his lane and hold the shrine. That way you can have enough pressure on bottom where anytime they fuck up, you just get a straight Dragon Knight. So it's really strong. And then those are pretty much the 3 biggest strats on Dragon Knight right now in the current meta. Like, yeah, you have some other like random stuff like 1-2-2-1 lanes and stuff, like, or 1-1-2-2 lanes, but like overall it's the same thing. And then I'm talking about early Dragon Knights is if you get an early Dragon Knight, and by early I mean like pre-level 10ish, like level even like level 7ish, right? Like pre 1 to 7, like 1 to 9 I should say. If you get one, the one thing you want to do is you want to take out walls. Earlier the game you have a dragon, your goal is to take out walls, and the second thing you want to do on a Dragon Knight is make sure you never die. Here, let me get a Dragon Knight really quick. The main reason why you never want to, or not, of course you don't want to die, but you never want to lose HP for free on a dragon, or on a Dragon Knight. So the one thing you want to do is you want someone to come to you, or multiple people to come and stop you while you push, and you need to, like, your team needs to decide right away. That, and especially no matter what, you always need people soaking the lane. So you still need someone top, you still need someone bottom, and then at that point you either need 2 people to rotate with you mid to be like, hey, push mid with me, or you need 2 people bottom that are just like, okay, or 3 people bottom that are just like, hey, we're just gonna siege bottom, they can't stop us. And the main thing lots of people mess up on the Dragon Knight is they're just like, oh, I'm gonna do damage to the wall, and then 3 people come to defend, and they're like, I'm gonna get this tower no matter what, and then the dragon dies early, and they're like, well, we defended the dragon, let's go back bottom where they're pushing and then defend bottom. You just want to survive as long as possible, and your HP needs to be based on your timer. And I'll show you what I mean by this. Like, I have a minute of time and I'm at 100% HP. So that means if I'm at like 20% HP and I have like 50 seconds left, that's the worst thing that can happen. And as you can see, like on the turrets, you want to hold on one side, like very bottom or very top. The main reason why you do that is so you're only getting attacked by one tower. And you want to go straight on the tower. After you go on the tower, back up once there's 3 people. If there's one person, no one person in the game can stop you from pushing. So get the wall. Act like this is a way earlier game, Dragon Knight. So you want to get the wall. And then a little trick or tip is you can kill like these in 2 hits, or like 1 auto breath, the wizards, and they will heal you for 8% of your max health. So you can get healed in the Dragon Knight by the wizards. So if you really need to heal, just 1 auto Q, pretty much 2 autos, get a gem, heal up. And then you want to rotate constantly. Just get, especially the first early game Dragon Knight, what you want to do is just get the towers and get as much XP lead as you can, because getting the XP lead is what's going to make you be able to snowball and bully your enemies and pick the fights you want to pick. Like taking their camps aggressively because you have a heroic and they don't. So that's what you want to do on an early game Dragon Knight. The second thing you want to do is on a mid-game Dragon Knight is you want to make sure everyone is soaking. Once again, it's a huge deal. Unless your team is like a really hardcore dive team, then yeah, sure, you can dive with a Dragon Knight, but early mid-game Dragon Knight is actually super weak for fighting, so you do not want to fight with it. It's pretty much cat and mouse. The other team wants to engage hard on you. You don't want to fight. You just want to get buildings down. That's the main thing. You want to get all the XP, gain the XP lead, get the talent lead, and just snowball off of that. Lots of people make the mistake. They're like, hey, we have a Dragon Knight. Let's fight. Like, no, you should not be fighting. Go soak. If they're trying to fight with 5-man, then guess what? Get 2 lanes of XP, and the Dragon Knight will just play like cute. It would be like, hey, I know you're there, but I'm not really going to go in. And that's what I mean by having your full minute of time worth on your Dragon Knight and being at high HP. Because if you have like 50 seconds left with 20% HP, what's the point? They're not scared. They can just rotate anytime you get on the building. Like, you have 20%, you'll just die. So, like, make sure you use your Dragon Knight. You want to pretty much know one single target is going to destroy your Dragon Knight, so you want to pull multiple people. Once they pull multiple people, that's when you want your team to play aggressive, either get buildings or get kills on the other lanes and keep snowballing. Try and have the biggest domino effect you can have, especially early, mid to late game. And then that's what you want to do for the early Dragon Knight. Coming in with the mid-game Dragon Knight, you want, the biggest thing you can do is take down forts. You want to take down each fort. Instead of pushing down like, oh, like lots of people make this mistake. They're like, all right, I'm taking mid fort. Then they're like, okay, I'm getting mid wall. Majority of the time, that doesn't matter at all, taking down this mid wall. It's so much better to have a mid fort or just a bottom fort over a big wall. The main reason why is because lots of people will be like, well, then you can just get a keep the next Dragon Knight. But the thing is like that's not always true, and it's not just that. It's like in this map, if you're fighting on top or bottom or mid, the forts are so close to the shrines. Like I can see, the forts are so close to the shrines. So if you don't kill the forts and you're trying to fight and they can run away to their forts, it's lots of times you're just like, especially if you have melee assassins or double tank, you're just like, well, we can't dive into their fort, so they just have the safe haven. If you take out the middle fort, top fort, bottom fort, middle game, or mid game, then they won't have that safe haven, and you'll get the kills. And then once you get the kills, that makes you be able to get another Dragon Knight. And at that point, if getting the kills is more important than anything else, so that will force you to get even more Dragon Knights compared to just being like, well, we have the wall down, so if we do get a Dragon Knight, we can get a keep. Like at that point, if you win the fight already because they don't have forts to retract to, you're gonna get the keep anyways next time. So middle game, key focus, you want to get the forts down no matter what. Same thing, have two people soak lanes unless you really need to force a fight because you know your mid game isn't as strong. Their late game's really strong, stuff like that. And then going in late game DKs, you always want to get a keep. And on this map especially, top, you never want to siege top because there's a bridge. You will get constantly, like, you can get flanked super hard and you're just stuck here, like womboed, everything. So majority of times the main thing you want to siege is bottom. Sure, there's times where you're just like, oh, we want to fight mid, we're already mid, let's get the middle keep, sure. But the main reason why you want to go bottom is because not only is it hard to flank because there's this area which you can easily check, like there's no way in hell anyone's going like this far around all the way down to get a flank on you. It's your catapults will be most effective on bottom compared to mid, especially on this map where the lanes are so close. It's a lot easier to defend mid catapults if you do get a keep compared to bottom catapults. Like they actually have to fully back compared to like if they're mid or top, they can just stop by mid really quick. If they're top, like they have to go all the way to bottom, or if they're bottom, they have to go all the way to top. So if you can choose a keep, I recommend bottom. It is the best choice because you get the biggest advantage from it compared to top, where top is probably the best, but there's a bridge, so like bridge is too scary. And then for mid, it's not bad if you have to, but bottom is just preferred. And those are the reasons why. And then one thing lots of people don't understand is like if you have a 20-minute DK, like a 23-minute DK especially, if there's a keep down, 90% of the time, like more than 90% of the times, you can get a keep. You can win the game off of a Dragon Knight. Anytime past 30 minutes, do not die for Dragon Knights, but like don't lose two heroes and be like, oh, we have a Dragon Knight, but make sure your Dragon Knight goes for core at like 30 plus minutes no matter what, because that thing will start hitting for like 1.5k HP and the core probably has like 60k, like 50k HP, so you'll instantly like just drop a core like in 20 hits. So make sure after 30 minutes you always go for core no matter what. And if you have to play safe, like even if you're scrimming, don't be afraid to go for the core to learn how strong the Dragon Knight and how strong comps are to see like what you can do with it. And this is pretty much me giving up what I think about Dragon Knight and trying to explain the heroes and that synergy as well and everything. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a good one.